What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the sixth episode of Even Eden. I am joined here today with my dear friends Ash and Alex. Say hi, guys.
Hello.
And so we wanted to do a part two of our human trafficking and spiritual warfare episode because that one did so well, and it was just like we know that this is the direction that the collective needs to, start talking about because Gaff and Alex, there, if you guys haven't seen the first episode, go watch it. But if you guys don't know their story, they live in a bus and they have been targeted severely by these evil forces that we are fighting. And their story has just been the most inspiring out of all of, the people that I know. And yeah, it's like I'm also a TI, and it's been part of my path that I haven't really been as open about. And witnessing your guys' story is the reason why I, have felt, even safe to talk about it because you guys were one of the first people that were openly speaking about what had happened to you. And this is when I still didn't know like if I was safe to even talk about it because I didn't even know what was happening. And the only reason that I was okay was because I had seen others, like just like you guys, like Tay Lynch. It's just like the others that were brave enough and that had the courage to like openly speak about your situation without fear. Because, the fact that you guys just did it anyways and it made the forces retaliate against you harder. I like that was
Yeah.
just that was just something that I was like, wow, dude, like these people are like this is my soul family right here because like this is like some serious spiritual warriors. So how yeah, like, I want to ask you guys, what made you guys feel like okay about speaking about this so openly and publicly? Because for me, like it's like it took me to witness you guys, talk about your story so openly for me to be able to feel comfortable doing it. I think you guys were probably one of the first I saw.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I felt like I had no other choice because
Mhm.
of how the public was treating me, right? Like the result of the smear campaign. And last time I mentioned how it was the public that really gave me the most clues, like filled me in on what's going on because of how they treated me and what they said. And when it got to a point where, it felt like I was genuinely being hunted because of the
Mhm.
pedo rumors, all this bullshit that people made up, like my ex old roommate. It's like these people also bragged about the powerful people that they had connections with. So it's like just getting the downloads of like, oh, there's actual Hell's Angels that are following me. Oh, there's people in these organizations that are barking outside my window or doing these things. And it like, even just going, I remember going to get my nails done one time and this car like rolled up on me and like rolled down their window and the way that they were looking at me. And I remember I just like gave them the same dirty look back, like, and they like looked surprised. So it was just, I just remember speaking out because I was like, if anybody gives a fuck, like, this is all bullshit. Like, that's just what came out, to be blunt. And yeah, like, I just wanted a way to speak the truth. And it just, what came out was what came out.
Yeah, I
Like, in the way, you know what I mean? Of
lo-
just being like, fuck everybody. Okay,
yeah,
sorry.
yeah, no, you're good. Like, first of all, it's a really good question. And for me, like when I discovered that my family was doing this,
Yeah.
that my brother, half brother, whom I had only met one time prior, and that I have more stuff on YouTube and everything talking about this where, you know, I'm sure as the episodes go along, we'll get deeper into it. But essentially, like
No,
what
this is the series right now. This is like how
yeah.
we're doing it.
So, like, what happened was I went to Virginia and I found out that my half brother was recording me in my room at his house that he invited me out to, not the other. I didn't ask to be there. It
Yeah.
was they reached out. They knew that I was trying to go to Texas for music, and then all of a sudden, it's these. And there's a pattern here. And I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of people that are like, "Holy shit, that happened to me." There's might be people that don't even realize that they were or are being trafficked in a way that they didn't suspect because it's not just chains and cages and all this. Sometimes it's like my scenario where they find out that you are talented in some area, can exploit that, try to steal it from you, which is
Yeah.
exactly everything that happened to me. They offer you the world and then you are given crumbs, if that, and then you get taken out. And so, and there, so what happened was I found cameras that he was talking about. Uh, there were, oh, did you know that there's cameras in the light bulbs, LED bulbs, and they're all over the place. You would never suspect it. You get watched all the time. He was in Army intelligence. His wife is currently in spy technology with the Navy. So do the math here. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out. Obviously, there's some weird parallels here, right? And then the nefarious undertones, the sadistic things that he would say, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense as to who you're portraying yourself to be. Lies after lies,
Yeah.
all this, just very, very ego driven. Like John Wayne Gacy, like pretend, but insidious. So that being said, I discover this. I confront him about it. Say, hey, I know about these light bulbs in the cameras. So he goes white as a ghost, pouring sweat. I would never do that. Oh, that's weird. You're awfully fucking sketchy for someone claiming to be innocent. Because if you told me that I did that to you, I'd be laughing at your ass. I'd be like, you are. That's clearly not the right frame of mind.
Yeah.
So it's telling. And then, but either way, I got to the point where this happened, and then I spoke about it, and then I did everything that you're taught and conditioned to do. Go to the authorities. They didn't even take
I
notes
did
on it.
that too.
Yeah.
Go call the feds. They didn't fucking call back.
They
Yeah,
Go,
don't care.
go to the VA.
same.
You know, and then everyone's calling you crazy and all this and that. And then I started noticing patterns.
So
You know, and
embarrassing.
I wound up on the beach for
It was
10
the worst.
days. But and I wound up on the beach for 10 days and no food, no water, nothing. And I noticed patterns. This is the first time I noticed patterns. This is where I started seeing temp tags, where they're swapping out vehicles to watch you in droves, dude. All of a sudden, people you never met suddenly know who you are, and suddenly have access to your family, and bring a phone to you and go, "Hey, your aunt's calling. I don't know you, so how the fuck does she know you? We're not even in the same state right now." So there was patterns. I discovered I was really good at picking up on patterns, really good at picking up on energy. At this point, I still didn't believe in God. Then I realized, oh my God, this is human. There's human trafficking taking place here. And then that's when I said, I called out to everybody. This was the last time I was actually afraid, by the way.
Mhm.
Um, After this is where I'm, getting back to the full circle of the question of like, what got you to start talking about it? Because when I realized in the moment where I could have been killed, that my family not only didn't come to my aid, they fucking called me crazy and laughed, and everybody said in real time on Facebook,
Yeah.
thought it was so funny and so sad, that I went off off my rocker, and by this point I was still sober and everything at this point in this chapter, and I'm like, okay, so it led to, if y'all could watch me actually die in front of you while I'm pleading with you to hear what I'm saying, to hear my voice, that and then shut me off like I could have been dead right now. I'm lucky to be here. It was at that moment I gave myself to God to get me through it and get me out of it, and I would speak about this. And I said, fuck everyone's opinion of me. And I just started posting. And I didn't give a shit if I looked crazy. You're going to call me it anyway.
Yeah.
But I just I couldn't live a life where I was holding in that heavy of a truth and not say something about it. I just wasn't built to do it. It made me sick. My stomach, my throat was tight all the time. My anxiety, I'm looking over, and everyone else was just like totally oblivious. So that's where it led to.
You know what I want to just include real quick too is because we mentioned families. For me, when I started speaking out again to protect myself, like feeling like people actually wanted to kill me, and I was talking about things with like my, what was going on in the town and what my cop ex had done. And my dad would text me as soon as I posted on TikTok, he would text me to take the video down. And it's like there were so many alarms going off. How do you know I just posted on TikTok? Why are you asking me to take the video down? If this has nothing to do with you, and then who said it didn't have anything to do with them? Who, you know what I mean? So then it
Right.
like, I'm just that's when I really just started to just push everybody away and like blast even more. And I just remember telling my dad, like, I'm literally standing up for my life. No, I'm not going to take the fucking video down. And it's just like that was like a really shocking moment. You know what I mean? To have you think that you're protecting yourself and standing up for, or just trying to speak out about organized crime, and they're like, can you actually take that down?
It
Why
was
why are you gonna shit yourself over
it
this?
No,
was the fact that they
totally.
were more concerned
About how
with
they look
with
Their
their
image.
image
Yes.
and the opinions of others than the actual sanctity and safety of your own kin.
when you
Yeah.
literally say I was sexually assaulted, and they're like, I think you should get
No
help. And no,
investigation,
like
nothing.
nobody cares.
Yeah, fuck them.
To me, that was like, wow. That was when I just literally, I'm done with everybody.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You know what
No,
I mean?
absolutely, and so like I said, like until I saw like people like you and Tay like speaking out about like what your guys' experience was on the internet. Gaff, you especially, you were talking about being targeted, like framed as a pedophile. And that's literally what happened to me. By my former best friend who was also 46 years old, and she like the story of like what she did to me, it was like just the most insane elaborate plot to like make me look like something that she was actually doing to her own kid. And it was like because she had me as the kid's babysitter, had me on all the school lists, like just pick up her kid, and it's like it was this whole thing, dude. And it was like just like the insanity of the plot itself. And then like her and my ex, they were actually like plotting on me together. And I didn't even know they knew each other. They were like secretly like plotting on my life the whole time. Both of them had separate VIP access to my life. Like, dude, while I would babysit the kid, she would like be like at my house, like, sleeping with my boyfriend in my bed. Like it was just insane.
I
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
There's
Like
details of your story
like
that are really similar
like
with
like
mine.
full blown humiliation ritual. And so when I heard your story, it was like this is like, like Alex said, like about the pattern recognition. I was like, and then I like started hearing other people's stories that were speaking about it openly online, and I was like, this is the devil's playbook. This is the devil's playbook because it's like they're not doing anything new, and this is also when I was like reading the Bible. And so it was like, because that's like how God, like, basically, like, was like, hey, you need to read this because you are living stories in the Bible. That's
Yep.
what's happening to you right now. And it was like full blown, like, we were dealing with Sodom and Gomorrah. That's the chapter of that, like, of that life that we were in. It was basically like, and then but this is also what like restored my faith in the knowing of like, because it's like people would ask me, how did you know that you were going to be okay? And I was like, I read scripture, and scripture told me the exact like part of my life that I was living
Yep.
in the text. And then I'm like, and I knew the ending because of that. That's how I
Hmm.
knew the ending, And then so, but it was like realizing the devil's playbook is like this was happening to all of the anointed. And it's like, but like the higher rank that you are, the worse it was. And so that's why it's like with people like you guys, like I knew that like how like highly like spiritually ranked you guys were because of how horrible like your situation was happening to you. And that's how I knew how highly ranked I was. Is like my situation was like no one could have survived this, just like the absolute terror and like the mimicry and just like being in the mimic grid, dude, and like being able to see it for what it was just insane. And so Alex, you also mentioned, how you were programmed to go to the law officials and the police and stuff. And I'm like, I just got like a flashback of when I had to do that because it was like I was literally in Denver. I went to the I went to the FBI headquarters. That's how serious I was. I was literally outside their freaking their like walled gate. Like it was like this huge thing, and I'm like banging on the wall, looking crazy. Like I looked insane. And I'm like, you guys don't even understand. Like, please let me speak to an agent. And it's like they're like, lady, what do you want? And I'm like, you don't understand. Like I had physical proof of what was happening too. And they were like, what do you want us to do? I'm like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, this is your jurisdiction. So that's what I want to ask you guys. Like, what was it like for you guys to realize that the officials were not necessarily in on your situation exactly, but they were just completely like they're just an illusion in this reality?
Yeah, yeah, it was like realizing you're Neo in the Matrix and you're around a bunch of Agent Smiths and you just opened up about what they're doing to them.
Hmm.
Like it was the last time. I'll tell you, in that moment, it was a lot of trust was gone, like for anybody around me. Like that was a moment where I'm telling them and I'm looking and I'm seeing their body language. Like I'm really good at like reading body language, and I'm like, okay, I'm telling them, and they don't have their notepad out. I have 20 pages of notes, and no one's listening. They're just kind of looking at they would look at each other. They go over like this. I'd say something and go, and I'm like, you motherfuckers know exactly what I'm talking about. Like it was very eerie. It was like waking up and you're in a movie and you're on the receiving end of some shit you were not aware of. And it was like in that moment I was like, "Oh shit. This is whistleblower energy. This is
Hmm.
way bigger than I thought." Like I went into it so naive, like really genuinely thinking I'm going to the right people. This is the right place. This is going to help save people. This is going
Right.
to prevent this from ever happening to anybody else. And it was the exact opposite. It was they kept their mouths shut, didn't do anything, no reports, nothing. And all of a sudden, I'm over at the VA in the loony bin for 2 weeks, and everyone's like, "Why are you here? You are sane. Like you are way self-aware." And it was just fascinating how this whole you recognize very quickly, okay, this is something way bigger than me, and which was another thing that forced me into the mentality of God has to be present. I didn't believe in him my entire life. I was very angry about it. And then I recognized that I had a choice to make and I wasn't gonna turn my back on what I knew was the right thing to do. And then this, then you go, okay, well, and not. I should preface that not all law enforcement is in on this, and not
Yeah.
everybody is bad, and not
Right.
every. You know what I mean? That would be a foolish thing to think.
Right.
To blanket statement, good hearts and souls that are in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing.
Right. Fuck the police. No.
But
Just kidding.
Jesus. But in all reality, but in all just as she is so next level, it's like dating Jersey Shore sometimes. Uh,
The vlogs
but
are my favorite, dude. Keep them coming.
but oh my God. Uh but yeah, it's like you realize, oh shit, okay, well, I did what I thought was right, and I just realized that I told it to the person that actually isn't gonna help. And then people ask, well, what are you gonna do to save yourself? Or how are you still alive? It's like, well, because God. Like
Yeah.
it's one of those things that specifically because your higher power shows up in service of you because you did the right thing, and all of a sudden that's where you get your confidence from,
Yeah.
because you become
Hmm.
conscious of
Yeah.
what's really going on. You realize you're not the drop of water anymore, you're the fucking ocean, and it shifts your perspective on what you can do.
100%.
Yeah. I feel like for me, well, mind you, my ex that was a cop who I originally thought this all stemmed and started from, and then realizing my family's involvement, it was kind of like, oh, like was that a handler? But I feel like he really did. He had his own just dark web thing, way of
Hmm.
making money, drugging women. And like he bragged about having friends in the FBI, DHS, all this stuff. So before realizing the targeted individual, like what this is, I just remember thinking like, like either having a brief interaction with a cop and then just the look, just the energy you felt from it. I was like very unfortunate. You know what I mean? Like this doesn't feel good. But I also, again, when it came to being framed and like putting together the stupid jokes that I made about masturbating, realizing there was hidden cameras in my room, realizing where, like, what specifically people twisted around, I was like, I take ownership for just biting myself in the ass. And like, I was just very transparent telling my cousin that's a detective, hey, I think this is going on. This is stemming from this. I get that I look like a fucking weirdo, but I'm being framed as a fucking weirdo. He ignored me for years. So that was like the biggest, like, I'm on some kind of watch list to where it's like a, what is that? Like, if I'm his cousin, he can't.
Conflict of interest.
Conflict, thank you. So it's obviously a conflict of interest since we're family and I'm reaching out to him for help and he's ignoring me. That's when I realized, okay, like something, dude, something's up here, right? To this day, he has ignored me. And then I would just randomly message him like things. And I get how I came off as like a nutbag, but I also used our DM chat as like documentation for me as well to like go back to, and then realizing how bad my phone was hacked. It was just, they set it up to where you look crazy. And
Yeah.
I know that I know I looked crazy. You know what I mean?
100%. And the thing is, it's like I think like the way that the energy is moving, like about how many of us have gone through like the same fucking thing. It's like finally, like I think people are starting to recognize that, like, especially because of like the way we speak about it, it's like we're in our right minds. We're not insane. And so it's like it would be a different story if we were like cracky Jackie tweaking on the street, but it's like, but we're
Exactly.
not. And so that's where it's like the ops, if you will, they're like, damn it, like, because that was their goal. Because of like, this is like for me, like, because I was completely sober when all this started happening to me. And so I know a lot of the TIs, like and I think you guys were too, right? Where it's like a lot of the TIs, they got targeted while they were in active addiction. And so like I had just gotten sober in 2021 and my targeting began in 2023. And so like these people, what their goal was is they were trying to get me to go back to drinking and drugs. That's what they wanted. And that was like, and the thing is, it's like it was weird. It was like I was like conscious of like I knew that. I was like, dude, these people are trying to get me to fuck up my sobriety because things were finally going well for me for the first time in my life, like literally. And so that's why I thought it was so demonically sick and evil because I was like, damn, dude, these people really fucking like came for me the second my life, because I lived a pretty hard life, and so it was like the second my life started like going in a good direction and I got freaking taken down by my wounds. And so they target you through your wounds. And this is part of the devil's playbook because dude, I have like been so deep in it and like studied it like from such a trippy vantage point where it's like they target they target people like us, and then they specifically, like, this is like the Agent Smiths that you were talking about. They specifically make it so you are in a false reality that they have constructed for you where the people around you are not being targeted. Nobody around you in your exact vicinity is going to understand what you're experiencing because it's so calculated and so detailed. Like these people planned this for a very long time. And so that's why it's like when you finally start speaking out about it, it's like it's your natural cadence and your natural instinct to be like, dude, like I can't say anything because people are going to think I'm crazy. And so
Yep.
that's what keeps people from speaking up. That's what kept me from speaking up until I saw you guys doing it. And that's why it's like, I think this message is basically for the collective watching it. If you haven't started speaking about your situation, you need to.
You got nothing else to lose.
And
Right.
you are not crazy for speaking about the crazy things that are taking place in your life due to someone having a hand in it against you.
Right.
Right.
Okay? It's like that's like I don't understand it. We don't like you're it's like judging a blind man for his inability to see. It's like doesn't make any damn sense. Like what's a good analogy? I don't know. Fuck it. But my point here is like just because you don't see something doesn't mean it isn't happening, right? Like just because you didn't experience it doesn't mean it isn't happening. Like children are born all the time. I'm a man. I can't birth children. I'm never going to know what that experience feels like. So, I mean, who the fuck am I to judge a woman's perspective on, that process? That's something that I'm not going to understand. So, like, but you can do your best to empathize with somebody. So empathy is big. Pay attention to who has no empathy around you, no sympathy. Pay attention to who, when you do speak your truth, when you do feel safe enough to do that and comfortable, or just in your fuck it era, you got nothing to lose era, you go, you know what? I'm going to tell them. And if they aren't even, if someone came to me and said, hey, Alex, I think I've been trafficked, or I definitely have been trafficked. This is happening to me. That people are trying to take me out. I'm going to go, okay, let's pause. Let's reflect on what's going on. Let's analyze this from a logical standpoint, and we're going to take all of the events that you've experienced. We're going to put a pen to paper and let's go through this. Who was involved? What was their body language like? Like I would make a kick-ass detective because this, like all of us would, because we are still here.
Right.
So it's recognition. You're taking pieces of your experience and piecing them back together. And that's the thing. They want you to be too fucked up to even think about the pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah.
They don't want you to know a puzzle exists.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to be puzzled in the
Right.
puzzle. So, and for any law enforcement that's watching, okay? If you are corrupt, fuck you, eat a dick. If you are not corrupt and you do have a good heart and you're seeing this and you're still watching, okay? This is your chance to listen to those that are coming to you because they understand what it sounds like, okay?
Yeah.
And crazy people don't know they're crazy and they don't need other people to fucking point the finger at them and call them crazy. And think about if someone that you hear is calling someone else crazy, do they have empathy? Because I wouldn't call a crazy person crazy. I'd go, oh,
I'd let
that
them
person
be
probably,
crazy.
exactly. If they're farting in the fucking bathtub and giggling, let them do it. They aren't harming anybody. But if someone's coming to you and saying, hey, I've been harmed in some way, or I know a group of people are being harmed, get off your ass
Yeah.
and do something instead of looking the fucking other way, because trust and believe someday you will meet your maker. And that badge doesn't mean shit when there's no heart behind it.
Right.
So that's what I have to say about that. There needs to be better, more righteous people that are listening to every soul that comes across them with some kind of issue.
Right.
That's your job, you know?
It's just also really telling too, like just getting, with everybody gaslighting you saying that you're crazy. For me, it was like I had a disclaimer talking, like just trying to share a little bit of my story with anybody. Like, hey, I get how this sounds. I'm totally aware of how I sound. You know what I mean? Before I proceed. And like just sharing my experience, but also sharing how I get that sounds. This is what actually happened. This is who I think is behind it. This is why. This is what I actually said. This is what I joked about. This is what people in public are saying. And it's like you just also know the way that you conduct yourself and the way that you're saying something. You're saying it so it makes perfect sense. You're not overwhelming someone with like the speed of it, the volume of it. And when people are like, you're fucking crazy, blah, 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 like just their reaction, it's like, that's why I prefaced it the way that I did, because I get that this all together is like jambalaya, what the fuck, you know what I mean? But like, yeah, it just, and then noticing how you feel when you talk to other people. Like there was a sheriff around here last year, and it's like we had a good interaction, and then he came around again, and the second interaction, it's like, it's classic, right? Being targeted. The next time you see somebody, they switch up their attitude. They switch up how they treat you. And that's also part of the program with them wanting to make you feel a certain type of way.
As if you did something wrong or you
Right.
aren't worthy of their respect.
But then yeah,
It's like,
and then it was like we had a third interaction, and this same sheriff was like, you know what I see when I see buses like yours? And I'm like, what's that? And he's like, I think it's a junkie bus. And I'm like, oh, honey, first and foremost, you're stereotyping, okay? And it's like, your opinion of me isn't my reality.
Hmm.
You're lucky I have thick skin. And then I said, I was like, that assumption is actually why a lot of people are very much fuck the police, not my words. And I said that to him and he started cracking up. But I'm like, just the way you're treated, but it's also the second time around. I'm just like,
Yeah, it's the people judging based on appearance. It's
but
like, listen, you could have a I say like you could take a dump in a fucking Gucci box and gift it to someone. It's still shit in there, but a diamond ring in a brown paper bag is still a diamond ring, honey. So know your value and your worth. Don't judge me on my appearances. And I find it ironic that I've never had anybody judging me that was in better physical condition or mental clarity and acuity than any of the people that are targeted are. You know what I'm saying? Like we're actually you know how hard it is to stay. This is rhetorical, of course we do, but I'm just saying, like, for anyone that's watching doesn't know what this shit is, do you understand the tenacity of the human spirit to
Hmm.
endure against all odds, not some of them, not a few of the odds, but
yeah,
all the
all
fucking
Yeah.
odds that your shit's hacked, your family's turned against you, you turned against your family because you figured them out, and it's like the pain, and then especially if you were already 4, 5, 6 years sober, and then you get blasted with this is my reality now, this is happening to me, holy shit, life or death, literally. And
Right.
if you do get taken out, they're gonna think they're gonna play you as some thing, whatever. And it's like you have a purpose, not just potential on this earth.
yeah,
Keep going.
yeah.
Do not give up. You owe it to yourself to reach the top of the mountain and the next mountain and the next mountain because this is all a giant play that they're putting on you, and you are much stronger than that.
And it's like we're already in hell anyways. Like there's no choice but to keep going. And I get that feeling where people are like, people will just comments and stuff of people being like, I do want to give up. And it's like, I do too, but that's also why I keep speaking. Because it's like, if anybody wants to come take me out, please do, but God's not going to let it happen. You know what I mean?
Please
But if
do.
anybody did, it's like, joke's on you. I don't care anyway. You all have tortured me for so long, and
Right.
I
Yeah.
am sticking around just to shove it down your throats,
Yeah, it's a
and
giant, it's a literally giant middle
just
finger.
to let you know that you can go fuck yourself.
You want me to be miserable? I'm laughing, bitch. You
This
want
is
me to be
why,
broke? I'm making it now, ho.
dude, this is why you guys are my fucking like heroes, man, because it's like literally everything that you guys just said is like it's the absolute truth, and it's like especially in regards to the tenacity of the human spirit. It's like truly like how like like after all of this went down, like the betrayals of just absolute like horror, and in my own story, it's been surviving multiple sacrifices to the devil by these evil people. And it's like I haven't even been able to really speak about that one just yet because I still have a million witches trying to pretend like they've lived my life story, and that is like the one that I have not gone into detail about because it's like they're part of that. They were reaching out to me via DM because they want to find out about my about the sacrifices with the secret societies because they're all trying to lift my story and pretend that like they're the ones that lived it, which is also fucking crazy. But it's I like in my last episode that I did a solo episode that I'm going to be airing soon, and it was largely on the tactics of the Mimic Grid, and this is like a series that I've done on my TikTok before, but and I know that I've discussed it with you guys before as well, but this is like entering into the hell realms of being targeted and realizing that your phone is hacked. That was probably one of the worst for me is like on top of everything that we've had to go through, like seeing that our phone was hacked. So like that's when I almost lost my mind, like literally. And so I want to ask you guys, what were the first tactics like of the people around you like that were indicating that they were using witchcraft on you?
Oh shit. The first one that popped in my head was when I first arrived to Virginia, which is where this all happened to me, at my half brother's house. Right, I instantly felt the presence of evil. Instantly felt the presence of evil, dude. And like coercive control. Like they won't outright and go like, "You got to wear this mask." They're like, "You should, probably put this on." I was like, "I'm never gonna fucking do that, ever. I'm not doing it." And and then just it was when there's the air of grooming. It was just groomer behavior. I knew what was going on. It was excuse me. It was never it was never words of affirmation or lifting up another person. It was always seeds of doubt. That's how you'll know too.
Yep.
You say an idea, well, maybe you should play it safe and do that. It's like maybe you should
Maybe
go fuck yourself.
Right.
Maybe I'm built for this shit. Maybe I finally believe in myself. Maybe today's the fucking day, homeboy. And instead they're like, well, I'm like, well, you could fuck yourself, Looney Tune, because and then like the evil thing, the spiritual warfare. I was like, still didn't believe in any of this, and something was telling me, dude, put on like demonic protection, like literally like this YouTube thing, and it was frequencies, like whether it was like 963 hertz or 432 hertz. And it was this anti-demon, it was like casting away stuff, right? And all of a sudden I noticed that my brother was like, he was like, what is that? What's that sound? Da, da, da. I'm like, oh, gotcha, bitch. He just, it was, when people like, I was like, fuck, I'm in a Netflix movie right now. This is what it is. Like the
Yeah.
devil, I'm not like, literally. And I journaled about it.
Yeah.
Just so that's when, that was my first initial like, oh, so that's what's happening. And talking to them, he and his wife about it, uh, talking about how I loved God, and they're laughing at me in my face, like cackling, dude. It's that shit in movies where they cackle at you. They're telling you the truth. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? They'll sell you it like it's entertainment, but it's like there's truths in this. So when they cackle at you and they mock God in front of you, trust and believe. You
Yeah.
might be talking to a demonic entity that's attached. You know?
I feel like looking back when I I think I'd gotten sober, but I might have been still smoking weed. But when my sister invited me to live with her and her husband, so just remember FaceTiming with my friends, and mind you, I was running every day and I was using Vaseline like on my face, so that's very thick, but I just broke out like I never have before. Like so bad. And when I was on FaceTime with my friends, one of them who slept with my ex and gave herself away, I talked about it in videos, but she like smiled with her eyes when she saw how bad my face looked. And she's like, "Gaff, you breaking out?" And I was like, and I just explained it like, "Yeah, whatever." Fast forward, when I realized it was black magic, like in the moment, was when I worked in Enfield and I was at a party with all my coworkers, like that would drug me all the time, that literally sexually assaulted me, and like even my manager, you know what I mean? And like we were at a party and somebody had thrown up and I watched them throw up, so it made me throw up, and I was in like next to the toilet, so I'm throwing up in the toilet, and the girls whose house it was got a bottle of bleach and was pouring it on my foot. So I'm barfing and I feel a burning sensation on my foot, and I look up, her eyes are closed and she's just mumbling something. And she was like this teeny like Asian, not that it was just the way that she sounded that like I didn't mean to, you know what I mean? It was just like what she was saying. It was like if I were to mimic it right now, it would sound like I'm like making fun of it, but it was just so bizarre is what I'm trying to say. Sorry, I'm trying not to be inappropriate and I just need to spit it the fuck out. Um, but yeah, I just remember like what the fuck? Like that's when I felt something is not right. I was like, "Why are you pouring bleach on my sock?" And she like finally opened her eyes and she was like, "Oh, sorry, did I get it on you?" I was like, "You were pouring it directly on my foot." And it was just like I was so messed up that night that I had to sleep there. And then I woke up and like I just remember feeling really weird downstairs. And like it didn't hit me till a couple days later of like I have no idea what happened. And like feeling that way physically downstairs like is actually really scary when you think back to like these people don't even have a soul to where they don't feel bad pulling your pants down and violating you because they were receiving compensation. So like, yeah, sorry to just babble that out. There's just so much that when I feel like I'm
Uh,
asked, I'm like, do you get that? You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
there's so many details that you're
Yeah.
like,
Well, see, no, 100%, dude. And so that's like another thing that like I'm actually glad that it segued into that because that was actually another question I was gonna ask you guys is just like there has just been so much that has happened, so much abuse from every fucking angle possible. Pardon my French, but it's literally like and it's like, dude, like that's why it's like I'm back in Hawaii right now for the holidays, and I'm just like the thought of like even seeing any of the witches that like were a part of like what happened to me. I'm just like, bro, like I'm just gonna stay in my house or something, you know? Because I'm just like I can't deal with. But it's like it's also I don't want to live my life in fear because fuck these people, and it's like it's just wild to me. And like I said earlier about they place you in a false reality where you're the only one that this is happening to for a reason. And because it's like they they did not expect us to make it this far. This is truly the Hunger Games. This is truly like the shit that we've gone through. They're like honestly, like that's why like we're amazing, dude. And it's like if anyone else is watching this and going through it or has gone through it, you're amazing. You're a fucking legend, dude.
you're a star.
Yeah. And it's like, bro, they hate you because what had happened, what has truly happened, and this is another reason like why I have created this podcast, and especially I love the segment that I do with you guys, is because the people need to be educated on the truth of why this is happening to them. And the thing is, we are flame bearers. We are the actual, children of God. We are because this like what our flame is, this is the holy like divine spark of creation. That is who we are. This is the ch like children of God. This is the original tribes of Israel. And this is like truly like this is who we are. I'm in full body chills. And these sick draconian evil like demonic forces, they have tried to clone our flame. They have tried, this is like a centuries long war. They have tried to basically, like clone our flame in labs. That's why like, never do like the ancestry DNA, like, that they were trying to steal my blood from me at one point too. But that's a whole other rabbit hole. Like you said, Gaff, so much has happened. Like what the hell? Um like what the frick? But it's like in everything that's happened, it's because they they know they can't kill us. They know. They know that there is a force beyond us that is protecting us, right? And so what they've tried to do is like the only way to truly get rid of the flame bearers is to get them to take themselves out. Hence these elaborate plots. And so it's like, by using AI to try get people to and this is another thing I really want to speak to the collective about. They try to get us to come into agreement with things that we would never consciously agree to. But they try to trick us, and they will do it like via subliminals and subconscious, psychological grooming. And this is like part of like why like, I do like what I do with my scrolls. And it's like also how at the end of the day, like before you go to sleep, revoke all consent to anything that you may have accidentally agreed to because this realm has laws. And that's why it's like they try to find the loopholes by getting us to come into agreement with it. And so that's the whole thing is like you're being targeted because you are an original flame bearer. If you are an original divine blueprint holder, you will get your shit rocked like no fucking other in this place, dude. And it's like I've wanted to take myself out. but I also have understood what would happen if I were to do that. And it's like when you understand, the wheel of karma and samsara, and it's like how it's all connected. It's like I couldn't actually do that because we're here to complete a mission. Um, and another thing is we have already completed the mission. We are just here witnessing ourselves fulfill it. And so that's another thing that people need to remember is the mission's already done. We've already won. It's already done. We've already won. This is literally us witnessing ourselves in real time, finish the story.
Wow.
Because yeah, that's how it works. And so, it's like it truly is the Matrix. It truly is because I have, come into my own gnosis of being an oracle. And so like in that scene in the Matrix with Neo and the Oracle when she hands him the piece of candy and asks like or he's like, "Oh, like don't you know like if I'm gonna take it?" And she's like, "Yeah, but you are here to witness why. The how and the why."
Oh
We
yeah.
might have to watch that again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know. I really had.
you should because dude, this is what I prescribe. This is what I like assign to my clients to do all the time is watch certain movies from a conscious perspective because there are certain films that were actually here to help us. Like The Matrix is absolutely one of those like series. Because we are all essentially Neo collecting the breadcrumbs to remember who we are.
Yep.
Yeah, because
Um,
even the name Neo, when you sort the letters differently, it's one. So like
mhm.
chosen one, you know.
Yeah. Wow.
So it
Yeah.
is, yeah, that's crazy.
I've had like chills the whole
Yeah,
time
I
you were
just
talking
got
about
chills too.
literally, I did too, and I wasn't going to say anything, and then you said it. That's fucking
it.
crazy.
Yeah.
Say 11010111.
Yeah. And that's just such a relief too. Like there are a lot of things that you're mentioning that it's like it just it'll wake people up hopefully that are struggling with being targeted. Hearing you say that, it's like instant relief, like, oh,
For sure. And
because
so
it's really
so
easy to
that's well that's
forget.
that's something that helped me a lot. And that's how you can actually gain the observer perspective.
Oh, I was so at the time I was buzzing my hair off, and I heard clear as day. I got a download of "Do not let your hair stay there. Throw it away, like immediately, because they're trying to clone you." I'm like, what the fuck is that? I'm just thinking it was a thought. Like I was like, I don't know where that came from. Still didn't understand these concepts. Didn't know what downloads were, or like thinking about visions. I wasn't like that at that time. The best I knew were binaural beats and like healing frequencies. That was the extent.
Yeah.
And that was, I was just getting in. So I have that clear as day. All right. And then all of a sudden, um, I'm noticing that the drain was also clogged, like you were just talking about. So the
Yeah.
drain was clogged, but I was getting visions of it might not make sense right now continuity wise, but it all pieces together when you guys hear the whole. It's raining now. So originally, the people that owned the home, I got a vision that my brother and his wife took out. You know what I'm saying? Uh, the family that actually owned that house, which is an older German couple, and they ended up bringing up like industrial strength, like plumbing stuff, like Drano, and I got instant visions of like liquefied body stuff. Like, so just letting you guys know, like it's like no joke. People do this shit, and I was like, why the hell did these guys have this? At the same time, I just had this download, all these things. So the witchcraft, like, it's no joke. Like they try to clone
It's
you, they try to retain your seed, as it were. Something my ex, I'm not trying to be like gross here, but like if after an event takes place, you run to the bathroom and I'm getting visions that you're like somehow I didn't know if I was right or not at the time, but I'm like getting visions like they're trying to pass this off to someone to try to double you. Like there's a lot of details to this. That
yeah.
part is probably going to sound absolutely batshit. I totally get it, but there's going to be other people that totally get what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That the government has been cloning people and animals for years. It's on the internet. It exists, you know? So that's a
Yeah.
whole other thing.
Ugh.
No, yeah, I mean, I experienced the collection of hair too. The like, it's like it really because now, okay, this is why it's crazy to me now is because it's your boundaries that actually make witchcraft obsolete.
Hmm.
And it's also your belief in if it can work on you or not. And so now where we are in our journeys, it's like I don't like no one can fuck with me because it's like that's not a belief system that's actually accurate anymore. And my targeting experience really started in Denver. Um, it was like I was dealing with like a super demonic coven of witches and but like from where I am on the journey now, and this is something I need the collective to understand and know that witchcraft can only work on you if you believe it can. And the reason why we were all so susceptible to it at first is because this is like this lifetime right here, this is the convergence point of all of our other lives. This is what it is. And so these are like they were getting through loopholes through belief systems from other lifetimes. And so this was something that we had not yet integrated in this life, in this season of life. So they were coming like a lot of like the enemies that we've dealt with. These are past life enemies. These are ongoing battles from other lifetimes. So these are people, this is not our first go around with these evil fucks. Like these are people that we have been at odds with for a long time, tale as old as time, truly. And so this is why they were targeting us prior to us awakening. They don't play fair. They target you like based on loophole belief systems. The fact that we didn't even know witchcraft was real until it started happening in this life. And then
Right.
all of us on a collective level, because this was a targeted, calculated attack on the collective, in order for the collective to have a collective belief system that this was real and it can work. That's why they did it to all of us at the same time. That's
Hmm.
why because the law of one, we're all one essentially, right? But this is the thing is they wanted to target the collective consciousness in order to create a collective belief that witchcraft was real and it could work and it could harm us. And
Yep.
that's why it did for a while. Why it did fucking work for a while, dude. But now that we're all remembering our power, this is the point, this is the part that they didn't want us to get to. They didn't want us to get to the part where we're like, oh, wait a minute, I remember who I am. I'm here
Yep.
on fucking assignment. And it's like they're scared of me.
Yep.
This is the part that they didn't want us to remember
Yeah.
and it's too late for them now. But it's like winter solstice. It was what, 2 days ago, and now it's like this. That was like the point of no return for them. That's why the month of December, if there was any residual attacks on you guys, because I had a couple, and I thought it was over, but it was because it was the final threads breaking. The siphons are cut. They can't fuck with us anymore.
Oh, I
Wow.
feel
And
that. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
Do
and
you
and so
guys? Oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
no, no, and so the only way that they could is if you were to come into agreement with it. And so that's why it's like you revoke all agreements, revoke all consent. Know that shit doesn't work on you because the only way that it ever could is through a belief system that it could.
Yep. Dude, well, what I was gonna say is I really feel like with just how just think of the food, right? How there's poison in everything, the
Hmm.
parasites in the water, food, and air, and
Right.
how parasites are demonic and they take over your nervous system. It feels like that's why they attack everything to the like just to the degree that they do is because they know exactly what you just said. Like, there's going to be a point where their attacks can't touch us, and it's
Hmm.
like that's them desperately trying to just remain in control by letting the parasites take over everybody.
Right.
And it's like that.
Well,
Well,
that's
through the
that's
parents.
that's why
I'm
you're
sorry.
absolutely. I'm sorry. No, but I was gonna say, Ash, that's why you're absolutely onto something with your parasite cleanses that you do, Gaff's wellness deck. Keep doing that, okay? Because that's something that is like very, very important. Because It's something that the collective doesn't even talk about, dude. It's like
Yeah.
when you understand that you are the universe projected outward,
Yep.
it's like you take care of your freaking parasites.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's this is crazy. Like this, and then it just you just think like there's so much more to the spiritual war, but they know exactly what they're doing with how they're just making everything, just correlating everything, and it's like,
Oh, it's so calculated. It's so demonic. It's
Jesus.
so evil. It's like this is like, but the level of the calculation goes to show just how powerful we truly are though. Because it's like that attention to detail, that like level of sinister like plotting. Bro, what? It's like that would only have to happen on a being that was truly, oh my God. That was truly powerful, dude.
He's like,
Like,
hey.
literally. What are you
Ah,
doing?
look
Oh,
at this
so cute.
guy.
He's so cute.
Yeah, he is cute.
Um, but yeah, I mean that's the only way it could ever work is like if they had to, plot and plan and scheme like that because it's like, you have to think, who the fuck am I if they're doing this? And then once I remembered who I was like, oh, I'm the Sophia, like the like divine feminine that they were trying to suppress, and this is like when I remembered like my true like divine identity, I was like, I get it now. That's why it was so fucking insane.
That was something that I this download came in the other day. I told Ashley, I was like, I heard clear as day when people, because this is a common tactic. Like they'll degrade you and go, "Who do you think you are?" Right? Because oh, God forbid you actually have the fucking confidence that everyone's been trying to say. Believe in yourself. You can do anything. But once you start to,
People are
Right?
disgusted.
all of a sudden you think
They're
you're better than me. No, you think I'm better than you. I think I'm better than who I was 5 minutes ago, not better than you, right?
yeah.
So
100%.
you do better. Now, the rebuttal in my head that came through a download the other day, it was like 2 days ago, was when they say, "Who do you think you are?" Right? Because what they're trying to do is convince you you're nothing, because they need to have that control over you. They need to. I mean, a horse is more powerful than a human, yet you know they trick them and they condition. So when someone says, "Who do you think you are?" ask them, "Well, who is it that you think you're not?" Because I believe that if you chose to believe in you the way I see you, you could be anything you want to be.
Yeah.
So when people are trying to tell you, "Well, you can't do this, you can't do that, you're not this, you're not that," that's them saying, the truth of you scares me, right? So that's another indicator in this pattern of who is for you and who is against you. Because I promise you this, it's going to shock when you ask to see who your enemies are. When you ask to, someone doesn't want me to talk.
Yeah.
That's why, like, when someone doesn't, no, I'm okay, thank you, baby. When someone doesn't want you to see you as you are, it's because they probably have something to gain from you misunderstanding the truth of the matter.
Totally.
So it's going to break your heart when but it's imperative you say, "Hey, I'm ready to see who is actually for me." All masks drop now. Don't be surprised when it's your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, your friend, your cousin, your uncle,
Yeah.
this, that, your colleagues. Not everyone wants to see you win. Some people are just staying to figure out your sauce.
100%. They want that secret sauce.
But they can't get it. It's an original recipe, and every one of us is an original
Mhm.
recipe, period. And every single one of us is here, as you say, the universe expressing itself through the human avatar.
Yep.
We're all fractal pieces of a big puzzle. The Akashic records. We have a knowledge that a knowing, not a thinking or a feeling or a believing anymore. A knowing that
Yep.
you can't fuck with us. That's why we speak
Mhm.
the way we do. Maybe someday, if you aren't nefarious in your behavior, you can elevate too. But you have to believe that you can.
Right.
Because I believe you can. She believes she can. You believe you can. I believe I can. So fuck everybody else that's trying to tell you you aren't something that you know you are in your heart.
100%. And so that's the thing. And so like I know that you guys probably share this gift as well, the ability to see people for their higher selves. And this gift is something that I often felt on this journey. I felt like it was a curse, because I was seeing the darkest fucking pieces of shit, for their higher selves. And because like I truly saw God in them, right? And so that's what would make me like give them the benefit of the doubt and allow people to, before I, establish my boundaries and realize the weirdo behavior that occurs in when the spirit of envy inhabits a body, and is like that is the soul operating consciousness in that vessel, right? Um, but it's like those same people that like I was pouring into them because like I truly believed in their highest timeline for them. I did. And so that's why it was so heartbreaking, being betrayed by these people, because I was blindsided, because like that's like that gift that I have to see everyone for their higher self. It's truly it's possessing the vision of the law of one, because it's like that's when that like the truth of this reality. But
Yeah.
it's like, but now it's like that, like I don't see those people for that anymore, because it's like I choose to believe people by their actions. um and that's what, it's crazy, because it's like this journey has basically, it's sharpened our swords, right, as spiritual warriors. But it's like to go from such a loving and kind, beautiful, the soul of a child, really, it's like that's how I always felt, is like the naivety that I possessed, to go like, to being like paranoid about like people, like, like scared of people touching you, and like just being so violated to a point. And I'm just like, dude, like the true, like this is like why I want to talk about this, is because it's like the true reality of like the people that have been targeted. These are fucking angels, dude. These are literally beautiful souls that have not deserved a single second of this abuse. And
Yep.
it's like, and to be framed as the monsters that are actually doing this shit to us,
Yeah.
it's just been like people don't even understand like what we've had to go through and overcome while being monitored, stalked, fucking tortured,
Literally
and
in the
like,
bathroom. You know, they're watching you
yeah,
in the shower.
yeah. Like and then like energetically like fucking tortured with witchcraft in your sleep in the dream realms. It's like you can't fucking escape this shit, you know? And so it's like, bro, it's like to anybody that is still watching this and that has gone through this, I'm like, all of you are my heroes, I'm my own hero for this shit, because I'm just like, bro, there's no way anybody could even like, and we wouldn't wish this on anyone either. That's
That's
Yeah.
the difference.
That is the
No matter how,
difference.
because sometimes I'll fall into the emotional trap of like feeling like, did I lose a part of myself in this? And because of how I feel, like I like what you said about like your inner child and being naive, like that resonates with me, because the way that I conduct myself right now is not how my spirit truly wants to continue doing things. It's just I'm a 10-year-old kid with the heart of gold, literally wearing fucking 300-pound armor that's surrounding me to protect me. And it's
hmm
very difficult to navigate the world that I mean, I used to just open my arms to everybody and want to be everyone's friend and wanted everyone to know that they're loved and appreciated and valued. But once I recognized not everyone felt that way for me, and sometimes the smiles I kept close to me, like these people that were smiling in my face, were the first ones to be a
Yeah.
part of it. The first ones to say, he's a piece of shit. Well, you never told me that before. When did this show up? I start speaking on, defending myself, and all of a sudden I'm evil for it. That's
Yeah.
what we're doing. Okay, bitch. Yeah, they literally, we have to thank our enemies, because they literally carved us out of stuff we thought was shit, turned out were gold, and just turned us into our own weapon against them. They don't realize all the shit that they put us through, you know? Like you,
hmm
hey, you created a monster. Don't be a, don't go turning off the light and being afraid of the dark now, because now you built this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I would never have consciously gone out of my way to conduct myself in this manner
I'm gonna close these windows.
if it hadn't been constructed that way from the enemy's plot.
Yeah.
So
100%.
But yeah, oh man, it's that really resonated. Like the whole, because I personally, I like, if you watch cartoons or read comic books or like play with yo-yos, giggle, have a good time, like just chill. Like your physical avatar doesn't mean your spirit can't be childlike. That's what we're supposed to be. But like if anyone's struggling right now with their who you had to become to protect you against all odds doesn't look like the version of you thought you were going to be, don't worry. Have some grace with yourself and some forgiveness for yourself, right? That you've gifted others, because this is only a chapter in a much, much bigger book,
Right.
and you get to write it. So if people are trying to hurt you, don't feel bad for using your instincts to protect you, okay? Because that's otherwise, what, you just roll over and die because your enemies want you to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't let them.
Totally.
You know, sometimes you have to embody some shit that's uncomfortable and go through some shit so that you can see the daisies and the flowers in the distance, Like, anyway, that's my. I just felt like that needed to come out.
Yeah.
It sucks sometimes because you feel it and you're like, I feel like a piece of shit because I cuss all the time now, or I'm saying this, or I'm mocking my enemies. It's like, well, fuck them. I didn't go into their house and shit on their table. They came into mine,
Right.
So,
Well,
you
yeah,
know,
I think the core theme of it all is never give up, you know?
Mhm.
And it's like as badly as you want to, like some days just rest, don't feel ashamed like you said, Alex, give yourself grace. Because I think the biggest enemy that I realized that I had on this path was myself. Because
Oh, shit.
I really like when I got to the level when I finally, even like this is like what like being in Bali really taught me was because I escaped the grid. I was like, fuck yeah, I don't have to, deal with those motherfuckers again. And, I finally was living on my own, but then that's when I realized how little grace I had for myself of like how angry and, resentful I was at like certain choices that I made that put me in those positions to be harmed,
Yeah.
And so it was like because a lot of it happened just because of like I went against my own intuition. And then it's like the lack of grace that I had for myself. It's like you have to remember like, you have to give yourself the credit where it's due. You survived the fucking impossible,
Yeah.
and it's like majority 99.99% of this world will never ever ever understand what the fuck you had to go through. And it's like and even if they can kind of like see what you're talking about, there's those same ones that are still going to be jealous of what you survived, of the story that you have. It's
Just
like when you realize that like people are not operating from a pure heart the way that you do, it's a fucking spiritual awakening, dude. It's like, damn. Like, so this is why the importance of speaking your message and, never giving up because you find your soul tribe family through that. It's like that's how I found you guys. It's like I would feel so fucking alone on this if I didn't like have you guys like, as like true allies and true friends that I've made because it's like I still have, friends in real life that have not been a part of this. But it's like it's also they don't it's not they're never gonna understand this side of my life because then it's like nor would I want them to.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
It's like, but I love that you said that of just having more grace with yourself because I feel like for me that's something that I struggled with once just with all the sexual assaults and things like that and you think to
Mhm.
yourself, well man, maybe if I would just it's like they were always going to do this anyway. The plot was always going to be sick and twisted. And for me, it was like, maybe if I wasn't such a shit stain abusing Adderall and then needing to like smoke and drink it off and just feeling like I was just an asshole, you know what I mean? Like I didn't need to do that. I wasn't doing myself any favors and I set myself up to just cloud my lenses and be around people who were terrible people. And it's like they would have sent in any handler that, you know what I mean? If you were straight arrow, they would have found some fucking Debbie, you know what I mean? Like anybody to match your energy. So
Oh no, no, dude, exactly. And Ash, I can't believe how much I resonate with your story, dude. I feel like you are a true fucking soul sister to me, dude. Like literally, like because first of all, the demonic attacks that happened to us, like they only slap the freaking pedophile weird shit on people that actually like, this is like true evil shit that they do. But
yeah.
it's like these are like to like really really high ranking people to fuck with them, you know. Finding your soul tribe family throughout all of this has been, like I've like met like a couple of like my true like soul tribe family throughout this, and it's like it made me feel instantly not alone, even though I've still been technically alone, in isolation for what, three and a half years now. But it's like you get through it, you meet your soul tribe family if you start speaking your truth. And that's kind of like how I want to end this segment is if you haven't spoken your truth and you're going through this, it's it's time to start telling your story because your true family, hey, if you're going through this, we're your fam, book a session.
Yeah.
I love it.
Shameless plug. Um, but yeah, guys, I want to ask you guys like how like what is your final message for the collective from this episode? Because this is going to be a series, so we're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep having these conversations. But what's your takeaway from all of this?
I feel like just never be afraid to speak your truth. And it's like, well, I was gonna say, because they're gonna make up whatever they want about you, you
Hmm.
know? And for me, like how they twisted what I said, but it's also like they would have said those things anyway if I didn't make those weird jokes, you know? Like if I didn't just overshare where I didn't need to overshare. And like that ties into the substance abuse. Maybe I wouldn't have been such a careless dumbass with what I said if I was sober. I wouldn't have had demons just thriving inside of me. You know what I mean? Like on these. So it's just like speak your truth, be authentically you, and don't feel like you need anybody because maybe the people that feel alone, it's like maybe you're alone for a reason because you're not recognizing your true strength right now. You know, so speaking your truth alone is you just got to make your way to that, and that's where you'll feel unstoppable, you know?
And yeah, and that you are worth so much more than what the enemy is trying to convince you
Oh
you are.
yeah, that's why they're attacking you.
So, I don't look at a turd and go, you're a turd. It's like, well, that's obvious, bro. Like, so what's the deal with you trying to tell me that? You know what I mean? It's like people only attack the things they think that are, you know what I mean? Like, oh, look, it's just crazy to me. It's like, if they don't believe in you, you better fucking believe in you because God believes in you, and you know there's a whole army of angels surrounding you at all times, and
Yeah.
there are ancestors around you at all times. It is in your blood, so you cannot give up, right? And it doesn't matter how many fucking times you get knocked down. That's the whole thing is you're still in it. You're waking up. So there's still things to be done, right? You don't this isn't over yet. And there's so much to be said about the beauty of you selecting in your heart and soul, fuck no, I'm not out of this yet. I'm not out of this. This isn't going to be done, and it's not going to be done until you win it. You know what I mean? It's not meant to be a cliche thing. It's quite literal.
Yeah.
You owe it to yourself and everyone around you to absolutely win this shit. So don't give up. Don't give up at all.
Absolutely. And then that just reminded me of like a verse in Proverbs. A just man falls 7 times and rises again. Proverbs 24:16. That's essentially the path of the chosen one is you just got to keep getting up because they can't beat someone that they can't fucking kill. And it's like I said earlier on in the segment, um, they've tried to clone us. They've tried to, because they know that they can't take us out. the only way that they can take us out is by, literally torturing us beyond belief where we would take ourselves out. And that's not an option. That can never be an option because you have a mission, you have a purpose here, and yeah, recognize the truth of who you are. You are a star. And I will end it there. Thank you, Gaff and Alex. I'm going to put their PayPal and Cash App and Venmo in the comment box. So if you guys want to support them, if you guys want to book a reading or a session with them, I will put their information as well. Oh, yes, buy their copper jewelry. Oh my gosh, I want to buy some actually. Um, but yeah, everything will be in the comment box if you want to support Gaff, Alex, or myself. And we will see you guys next time.